Alright, y'all ready to go cut some wheat for real this time? We are having a slight issue with this combine. My fan speed goes haywire.
We have to laugh at this. It's raining in one little spot and it's here.
Working perfectly now. Unfortunately, it took a service call to figure out just the sensor was bad. Well, we found out that Thrive on Cotton I've been talking so much about, it's awesome on thrips, but because we didn't spray for thrips, three-cornered alfalfa hoppers have moved in and are destroying my stand. Like, three-cornered alfalfa hoppers have moved in and are destroying my stand. Like between 25 to 50% of the plants out there, they've girdled, which means they eat right around the base of the stalk. They eat enough, they can kill the plant. Regardless if they eat any, it's weakened the stalk and could potentially, and if it survives, could potentially lodge or fall over later on in the year. At least that's what they do to soybeans. We've never really seen this problem in cotton because, well, I mean, we always spray for thrips, and well, if we're spraying for thrips, we're spraying for the three-cornered alfalfa hoppers. So it's kind of a, so it's the way it is. You solve for one pest and another pest moves in to take its place, and that's what's happened. And we really didn't know to look for them. And with three-cornered alfalfa hoppers, you really don't notice them until the damage has already been done. So I'm gonna send Zach off to spray that 62 acres, and while he's doing that, Kelly's gonna hop on the truck and haul grain. Oh man, that's 62 acres of cotton that I was really need to take a look at, and now I don't know if there'll be anything to take a look at this year or not. Just have to wait and see what survives and if it's enough of a stand to actually keep and make yield. If not, when we get done planting our wheat beans, might be replanting that cotton to soybeans.
We had a driver change. Zach had to go spray cotton, so instead of me planting, I'm going to be driving the truck. There's Carter. So little planting update, because we only have 3 GoPros, so can't really show you too much, but so there's my tractor. I've done about 30 acres. You can see in the wheat field, through the stubble, my planting. It looks gorgeous. I still have all that back there to do, and where they're at right now, which is way back behind those tree lines. I was gonna come out later on anyways, but since Zach had to go spray cotton, I'm driving this. So I don't know if you can see it, but there is legit just heat rising off of this wheat field, and this wheat field actually generates probably more heat than concrete does. I know because I've walked out there and I've kind of walked in the concrete to feel, and it is just ungodly hot in this field, which is a big fire hazard too. So worried about things overheating, you could spark stuff up and could have fires out here, so be very careful.
Well, I just stepped outside to take a leak. And it's so hot outside, I literally couldn't breathe after sitting in here for the last several hours. It done gotten hot outside. If I had to guess, that temperature probably 97, 98 degrees. And every bit of it's filled with humidity, but checking my temperature gauge, I mean, this thing's running cool as a cucumber. If you remember last summer when we were cutting wheat, I had a lot of problems with the combine wanting to overheat. Some of it was due to the tremendous wheat crop and a lot of it being lodged and having to take all that material in, but the biggest culprit was my radiator was about half stopped up with, you know, a bunch of old dust and stuff from the years of running, and then pressure washing machine, a lot of those cores got plugged up, and then after harvest we took the radiator off and had it cleaned real good. And I can definitely say that that was a big part of the problem, because it's hotter than it was last year. Even though we're not putting quite as much load on the combine, I mean, this sucker's running in the green all day long.
So it says it's 98 degrees, but it feels like 114. It feels like 121 out in this field. But there's a nice breeze coming in, but it's like someone opened up the oven and then put a fan on the oven. So I know it's all over the country right now. Everybody just needs to be careful, drink a lot of water, and kind of stay cooled off. But this is the best you get. Is there's not much out here. Even in the tree line, it's still hot. So we're gonna, I think, attempt to get this field done today. I don't know. I pretty much kind of just stay in my own little world in my tractor, so, and follow them. Also too, in these fields are tons of bunnies and baby deer. Unfortunately, did have a deer on the other farm that Matt didn't see, and yeah, so that kind of sucks. But there's a vulture out there, and I think he's got a bunny. Lots of bunnies out here. So just going to show you the difference between what it looks like planted and what it doesn't look like planted. So that looks like Matt did some testing, but you can see my line straight down, and then I've kept the outer edges for Carter. Here he comes. So that way we're not trampling these baby beans in the ground any more than they need to. So you can see where I stopped. So not planted, planted. It's pretty easy and cool. And if I forget and GPS isn't working, I just go back and look. So that helps out. So Carter's gonna load the truck up and I'm gonna take it to the bins. Everything's been doing really well on this. Other than a bad load cell, it's been doing pretty good. And he needs to learn to slow down, Mario Andretti. Daggone Ricky Bobby. Y'all, Ricky Bobby, slow down. Y'all, he ain't running this farm if he gonna drive like that. Oh, Lord Jesus, help us all. Slap! Oh my God. Daggum. This kid,
We rocking and rolling right on along though. These acres are clicking down in a hurry. Hopefully Zach is just about done spraying that cotton. Kelly's been on the truck last hour or two, and then hopefully Zach can get back here pretty soon, hop back on the truck, and then let Kelly go get on the planter. She hadn't planted anything today because she got caught up to me yesterday when the combine was tore up, and now I got a pretty good ways out in front of her, and they've been getting these beans back in the ground while we got soil moisture, because it's going to be hot and sunny and probably a little breezy all week. It's going to dry this ground out in a hurry, so really won't get these soybeans in the ground where we got plenty of moisture to germinate them, and should be able to get a good stand. There's no rain in the forecast though, which is good for getting the wheat out, but with these temperatures it's not necessarily great for the corn crop we got growing. I imagine we're going to start seeing some corn getting twisted up this week, and then plus if it dries all the moisture out of these soils where we're planting soybeans, what we plant later on the week, might have some problems getting those seeds to germinate and come up. And soybeans is not a crop that can sit in dry soil for a long time and wait on the rain to come up. If it gets in that dry soil, it'll just, you either have to plant them deeper trying to get some moisture and then hope you don't get a big rain that packs them in, or you plant them a little bit shallower and hope you get a rain before it dries, pulls enough oil out of the seed to where it won't germinate. Right now we don't have that problem, but maybe later on this week it might become a problem. Just don't know. Carter, you want to tell me why you are so close to where I'm cutting? What is the purpose of that?
I mean, you just go right past me and then I got all this room.
My header is literally within like 1 foot of the weight rack on that tractor when I pass by, man. You remember that conversation we had about personal space? I'd like to have a little bit more. Oh, kids, I swear sometimes they ain't got a lick of common sense. But I will say, it's the one job he really looks forward to every year. Carter, stay back from where I'm cutting. This thing's spitting out a ton of dust. That's the air filter in the radiator is pulling in on your tractor. There is no need for you to be right on top of me.
So I have to wear this because I'm allergic to the weed, but dust's still getting on my skin, so I'm itching, but so far so good. Zach just rolled back up in the sprayer, so we're gonna swap back out so I don't have to do this anymore. And it's hotter than 80s in here. So. Yay! Weed harvest! You gotta love your donuts, right?
Go ahead.
Everything is red. Nothing's working. Heating, downforce, soil system, closing system is all warning and it's all red.
Did you reset modules?
Says expected devices are missing. Verify the configuration. The diagnosis page is correct.
So what devices are missing?
Every single one of them.
I'll be over a minute. Oh, good grief.
Welcome to you.
Always something. Always something. Alright, just got her back going again. It wasn't anything major, just whenever she lowered the planter down from the transport position, I guess it pulled on one of the main cables and got a little loose in the connection. So should be good to go to try and get caught up with me now. I almost broke a little sweat walking from the combine over there. I don't know how those old timers used to do it, cutting wheat on open station combines, you know, back in what 50s and 60s and so, before we had cabs and AC. I mean, not to mention the heat, but good gosh, the dust. I know sometimes I complain about stuff. All of our modern conveniences have made us soft. Man, I'm sure some of the old timers wouldn't have mind putting up with some of the frustrations we have to deal with all these electronics and stuff, to, you know, to be able to live with the convenience of some of the stuff we kind of take for granted, you know, like ACs and cabs and push button controls and all that kind of stuff. You know, I like to think of myself as a, you know, pretty tough person, you know, be able to get through most conditions, whatever it takes to get the job done. But I imagine if I were to put myself up with some of those old timers, I don't know if I could do it or not. And even back before we had self-propelled combines, you know, you had mules and stuff pulling the combines through the field. Pretty amazing how far we come in such a short amount of time. Oh, I love cutting wheat during the heat of the day. Look at those nice straight tracks, tabletop cut. You know, once we get in the heat of the day and the straw really dries out, the rotor in the combine and then the chopper after that really chew the straw up good, to where when it comes out the back of the combine, it kind of filters down between the standing stems, and you know, it doesn't lay on top, and you got that nice pretty tabletop cut. And when you're borderline OCD like me, that's a very satisfying sight.
We are about 15,000 bushels in. I'm not gonna bore you with, I'm in the truck, I'm at the bins, I'm back on the road, I'm back out in the field. It's one of the two things out here that's just really repetitive. It didn't make for a really good YouTube video because it stays proficient and it's boring. Spraying and running the truck. Go to the field, come back from the field. Go to the field, come back from the field. But anyways, for the small number of people who probably haven't seen the setup, I'm here at the bins, just kind of checking everything over. I'm unloading load number 17. We are going into bin number 2, which is one of our 42,500 bushel bins. Can't make it out, but me and Carter dug probably one of the best bird's nests I've seen in a long time out of that downspout. The best bird's nest I have ever seen out of the downspout of number 1, and we have not checked bin number 3 yet because we're not using it yet. I'll check it, you know, I'll wait till it's good and hot in August to check it. But anyways, one of the things we got done early this spring, late winter, early spring, is all of this got cleaned up and a shiny coat of paint on it. So no more surface rust and looking weird sticking out from the rest of it. So it's all matching and painted and clean. Other than that, nothing really new to report. Truck's running. I am, as you can see, in my shorts and my dry fit, trying to cut down on burning diesel. So in between trucks, we are shutting the truck off and seeing how it's taking like an hour and a half to fill up the truck. It's a little toasty. Heat index is like 107 today, 109 yesterday, gonna be 102 tomorrow. It's hot and the wind's not blowing, or when it is blowing, it's blowing the opposite direction, or I'm in the tree line. Anyways, there it is. It's going in. Well, that's not. One more truck down. See how many more we can get in today.
Alright, we just got done with Ferguson farm here, and we got a long move to the next farm. We just gotta drive right across the road here. Going right across the road here to Keeley, got 56 acres here, then we got one more farm on the other side of the trees, about 18 acres, and we'll be done in this neck of the woods. I gotta say, even though the wheat yield is varying considerably throughout the field, both these farms that we have just cut been very consistent. They both, according to my monitor, they both average around 84, 85 bushels an acre. Anyway, what time is it? 6:30. We got another hour and a half of good cutting today. We want to see how big of a dent we can make on this farm. Decided to get done looking at the planter again. One of the units wasn't putting out. Apparently a big chunk of chemical, dried chemical to something, came out of the seed treater at the place where we got our seed and choked the outlet up on one of the meters. So no big deal there. I just don't get it. I mean, this looks like good wheat out here, good and thick, you know, 60 to 70 bushels an acre. Yeah, when we get out there, I guarantee you that's going to be 90 plus. I just don't get it. Normally this kind of variance in yields I would expect if maybe we'd had a frost right at the wrong time, right as the seed heads were close to emerging, and maybe lower areas of the field got hit a lot worse than the higher areas of the field. I've seen that before, but I've not seen what we're seeing in wheat this year, where we might have a 60 bushel swing in yield from one part of the field to the other, and I've never seen, unless it was due to a freeze or a frost, I've never seen that happen before. And it's not water. I mean, all these fields we've been on are well drained, so you know it's not water ponding up, which could explain it. We did have one cold snap, but my wheat was a little bit farther behind everybody else's, and didn't get cold enough that night to really cause it to be at risk, although I guess it might have been. You know, it definitely wasn't fertility. You know, we're very careful on fertilizing everything. It's almost like we had a late flush of bugs that came in and did something, because you know right around the edges, that's where the bugs generally come from, and they migrate out into the fields. So, but I can't, for the life of me, I can't think of what pest it would be. I don't think it was aphids, because you know they transmit barley yellow dwarf virus, but you can see that on the wheat plant when it's growing, and I didn't see any signs of that. I don't know. It's just going to be one of those unsolved mysteries, I guess. I really hate that, because when I see something that I don't like, I like to at least figure out the cause and learn from it, so if I made a mistake, I don't repeat that mistake. But this might be one of those things that I don't have the chance to learn from. I know in past videos, a lot of people have asked me what the noises are that's coming from my combine. Well, they're all coming from the monitor, and it's always screaming at me about something, whether I'm getting close to the end of the field where the border is, or whatnot. I mean, there's a whole host of things that could be going on. You know, when I engage my auto steer, it beeps at me every time. I know it's probably a little annoying for y'all, but for me, I just, you know, like that, like I don't even hear it anymore. It's, see, that's going on because it's saying I'm right here close to the border. I mean, well, no crap, I know that. I wish I could turn that part off, but for the most part, it's kind of like your kids whining. You know, you learn to tune it out after a while. All right, y'all remember in my one and only tillage video that a guy had just started planting corn? Oh, we got a big rig about to pull in here next to me and plant some corn with a high of about 50 degrees a day with a wind of 20-25 miles an hour and a low of about 33 degrees a night. I don't believe that's something I feel real comfortable doing. And there's actually a few snow flurries that day. Well, that field right there is the field that he planted, and look how uneven it is. He actually had to go in and replant some of that shorter stuff. And then look at that over there. That's actually my field where I was doing the tillage. See if I can get where the glare ain't on it. And see, it's dang near caught up to his corn, and it's a whole lot more uniform stand. That's why I like waiting until conditions are right to plant. You just give yourself a lot better chance of success there. Now, whether there's going to be any difference in yield, I mean, who knows? I mean, completely different varieties, completely different practices, who knows? But I like my odds on what mine's going to yield. As you can tell, that stuff is off to the races. Well, guys, we're at the end of another day, and we really slowed down a little bit. This wheat's already started getting encased a little bit. That means that the dew started to fall, and this stuff started to get just a little damp and a little tough. And if I get much faster, my grain losses really go through the roof. But yields on this side of the road, once we got away from the edges, are looking a little stronger than what we've seen in other places. But all year long, just driving by, I thought that this wheat looked a little better, a little thicker, you know, all along than the other farms I was on. So, you know, maybe some of our farms will actually wind up surprisingly good. Again, not that any of it's bad. You know, what we cut has been about average for what we would expect. But then we hit areas just like this, you know, for whatever reason, I don't know why it's not as good. But then there you go, we get back out of that bad spot, and then it starts picking back up, and then well, you see my losses go up too. This combine load should fill the semi truck up, and I reckon we'll just go ahead and call it a day. Probably gonna stay out here a little while tonight and try and get everything serviced and everything filled up, because it's gonna be blazing hot tomorrow morning, and I just as soon not start off the day itchy, sweaty, and nasty, and have to spend the whole day like that. Plus, I gotta go get some seed tomorrow morning anyway. Zach's gonna get started spraying burn down where Kelly first started planting. Overall, though, even though we got a late start getting the combine fixed, we've had a whale of a day. We've done a little shy of 7,000 bushels of wheat, a little less than 70 acres covered. A really good day. We'll be knocking on the door getting done in no time with a few more days like today. And that's how moist it is outside with my AC on. You see my window starting to fog up a little bit. The humidity is strong here in West Tennessee. All right, ready for another long day here in the wheat field. I'll just go ahead and apologize. I want to leave my hat off for a little minute, let my old head cool off. It was a hot one yesterday, and it's going to be an even hotter one today, I believe. Even though I got most everything serviced last night, a few things I had to do this morning, whoo, about soaked me again. Yeah, this morning, Zach started spraying burn down behind what we cut and planted the first day. I had to run to town, get another load of seed for Kelly. And we getting the earliest start we gotten so far in this wheat harvest. It's about 10:30, dews dried off. Moisture on the wheat started to drop back down to where it should be, and we got a lot of acres in front of us today. We got about 41 acres left on this farm, 18 acres across the road, and then hopefully we get moved over there onto the Fisher farm and get started on that before we call it quits today.